Hello, good morning. We are discussing all things sleep and perimenopause. Not all things. I'm going to give you 5 disruptors of sleep in perimenopause and postmenopause, and then at least 5 strategies that we can take to fix them. So, what you're going to do is 2 things. One, if you can relate to any of these 5 that I'm about to say, you're going to tell me specifically which one, and then you are also going to tell me what you did or what you are currently doing to fix it. And if you're not yet in perimenopause or postmenopause, of course, if you're not in perimenopause yet, you won't be postmenopausal, but you are going to listen, because if you are allowed to age, right, you are going to face this. And I want you to have some tools and tricks in your bag that you can use to fix your sleep, because we go crazy without sleep. I'm reminded of one of my, I'm obsessed with Law and Order, right? Don't judge me. So one of my favorite Law and Order episodes is this really powerful corporate woman who kills somebody, mainly because she's a terrible person, but she blames it on being in menopause and not having sleep, which I think is hilarious and maybe true, because there have been some days when I can't sleep and then the next day I want to kill somebody. So I'm not ruling that out, but let's talk about 5 reasons why you may not be able to sleep. Number 1, this is something that plagued me for 6 to 8 months, no joke, off and on, and it got really bad. And we're talking about night sweats and hot flashes. I say that now for the past 2 or 3 months, I've had it under control. Not been a problem. I've been sleeping very comfortably. And let's talk about what I did to make the change. So if you've not experienced it, night flashes or maybe night sweats or hot flashes at night, I don't care what you wear to bed, you're going to sweat through it. So I'm normally going to bed in a bralette and shorts. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. I will sweat through it. And I tried. I was like, well, you know what? I'm not going to sleep with anything on. Nothing to bed. Guess what? My sheets just got all sweaty. And it's so not cute. It is awful. It's a terrible feeling. And what I did, what worked for me, 2 things. One is to regulate the temperature in the bedroom. Now, this drives my husband crazy, because he'll come to bed and he's like, I'm freezing. And I apologize, but this is where we are right now, and this is just where I need things to be. And that helps. Now, if I try to set the bedroom temperature 5 minutes before bed, it does not work. It needs to be set a half an hour before I'm ready to get under my covers. Number 2, what is super helpful for me, again, this worked for my body. If something else worked for you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Always looking to try new things, and you never know who you can help. So another thing to help me is going to, and this is something that I've done off and on since I was in my late 20s. So going back to a plant-based diet. Now, that doesn't mean that I never eat meat. It means that it's mostly going to be fake meat and vegetables. That my body seems to be very, very happy with, and I don't feel like a sweaty mess when I wake up in the morning. If I take a shower at night, I don't need an extra shower in the morning before I run out the door. So, been super helpful to me. Number 2 thing that could be keeping you up at night, anxiety. Now, I had somebody ask me in my group, what do you do for daily anxiety? So I'm going to do an entire live on that, because I am somebody who deals with a generalized anxiety disorder, also OCD. So I would love to talk about that and give you tips and techniques. But let's talk about the anxiety that comes with being in perimenopause and being postmenopausal. So studies show that literally the chemistry of your brain changes. Your gut microbiome changes when you enter into menopause. And what that does is, when your gut microbiome changes, it's going to affect what happens at your brain. And this can lead to increased anxiety, increased depression. And if you've never dealt with anxiety or depression, it can lead to that. So you may not have dealt with it for years and years like me, it may be something entirely new to you. So you might find yourself waking up with your mind literally racing, things that are completely out of your control, and it just keeps you up. You might wake up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like just up. Like, why am I up? Maybe you have a little bit of trouble going back to sleep. I'll give you some tips again that have worked for me. One is magnesium. If I don't take this supplement, I can tell within 24 hours that I missed it, because it's just a little bit harder for my mind to shut it off, a little bit harder for me to calm it down, and it's been extremely helpful to me. And number 2 is going to be to establish a nighttime routine. So if you have had children, you probably have had a nighttime routine for them. My son, what it looked like is it looked like bath time and story time. And those, in that order, signal to him, his mind, his body, okay, it's time to go to bed. You need to go back and you need to treat yourself like a child. Be good to yourself. Give yourself a nighttime routine. So for me now, that looks like the shower. It looks like a very luxurious lotioning after, like body butter after the shower. That helps me, helps calm me down. And then it looks like lying in bed and doing like something, no social media past 10 p.m. It looks like maybe I do like Sudoku, something like that. It works for me. So those are 2 suggestions. Number 3 thing that could be disrupting your sleep in perimenopause, postmenopause, restless legs. Now, I'm so grateful that this has not been an issue for me. From clients, friends that I've worked with, heard from, it's painful and more than uncomfortable. I can't even imagine. So number 1, I want you to go see a doctor if you're dealing with that. I've heard that doctors prescribe like gabapentin. That is something that can help relax your nerves, and that can help. But again, you need to see a doctor if you're dealing with that. Something though that people have told me works, I've got no frame of reference for this, no personal frame of reference, but what I've heard works is just something I'm going to encourage you to do anyway, and that's exercise. Exercising can help your body relax when it's time to go to sleep. So restless legs is something that can be a symptom of perimenopause. It's something that you may not have ever dealt with before. And if you do, my heart goes out to you, and just see a doctor. Best advice I can give you. And hopefully they can give you some better advice. The number 4 thing that could plague you in perimenopause and postmenopause is having an overactive bladder. Yes, your bladder can become more sensitive as you get older. So if you're dealing with that, I want you to do 3 things. 1, seems obvious, but limit what you're drinking past a certain time at night. It's going to make you get up and have to use the bathroom. Number 2, no caffeine past 12 p.m., which honestly, it doesn't affect everyone the same. You may be like a habitual 3 p.m. coffee drinker, and that's never affected you. Good. I'm happy for you. I wish I could have that. Not for me. No caffeine past 12 p.m. That's going to be the cutoff that I suggest. If you're like, okay, maybe that could be a problem, stop the caffeine past 12 p.m. Another thing I'm going to suggest, and I love a cocktail. So delicious, right? But guess what? Alcohol is not a friend of your bladder. And it's really not a friend of you post-menopause and in perimenopause. It's just not. Your body doesn't love it. So it's something you may want to look at if you're having an overactive bladder. And the last thing that could be messing with your sleep is no one's friend. It's insomnia. I have clients who deal with insomnia. I am not an insomniac, but maybe once every 2-3 months, I'll deal with like one night where I literally am on 2 hours of sleep. For whatever reason, I'm buzzing, cannot fall asleep. So again, I don't have such a personal frame of reference for this, but what friends and clients have told me is that 1, it does not help to lie there and fret about the fact that you can't sleep. get up and do something productive instead of lying there in bed and just like, oh my gosh, can't sleep. I'm only going to be on 2 hours sleep. Maybe there's a book you've been wanting to read. I suggest no screens, right? So no getting on your computer, no watching TV. Maybe you can lean into a little meditation. Maybe you can read a book, something like that. Maybe that can help you bring it in. Number 2, again, exercise. Some people have found that the more active they are during the day, the easier it is for them to sleep at night. And then number 3, it's going to be to take some melatonin, right? Melatonin can be your friend. I'm a fan, a huge fan, and I like to take it. I try not to take it any more than twice a week. Don't ask me why. I've not read anything that suggests that it could be habit forming. It's just what I like to do. And 10 milligrams is what I would take, and it doesn't knock me out. But I do notice that when I take it, falling asleep is not a problem at all. I don't like to take it if I happen to be going to bed later than I should, because I find that it makes me groggy when I wake up, and I hate that feeling. So those are your 5 things that could be causing you to miss sleep. If you missed it, we're talking about night sweats or hot flashes, overactive bladder, restless legs, anxiety, and insomnia. And then I gave you more than 5 things, 5 actionable tips that you could use to fight to get a good night's sleep, right? I don't want you going around like that woman on Law and Order and having to off somebody because you couldn't sleep. So let me know in the comments what has worked for you. If you know a friend who deals with this, go ahead and share this with them. We're all in this together, and I hope you found it helpful, guys. I will see you next week, and we'll be talking about sugar. It's a beast. At least it's been a beast to me my entire life, and I'm going to tell you what helps me, because it's a constant struggle for me. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye.